Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another new edition of Cairo Local Time. I'm Niveen Ramzi, and during the next 60 minutes, I'll be bringing you the latest news and place here in Egypt. And we'll start off with the major news that took place in the day. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated on Wednesday the Museum of Islamic Art in Bab el-Khal district after renovation. The president toured the museum along with Prime Minister Sharif Ismail, Minister of Interior Magdi Abdel Ghaffar, and Minister of Antiquities Khalid Al-Anani, and a number of top officials. The president also watched a documentary film on the history and the restoration works carried out in the museum following an explosion caused by a terrorist attack on 2014 that targeted the Cairo Security Directorate parts of the museum. The Museum of Islamic Art is divided into 10 sections and includes 100,000 historical pieces from Islamic art. The details follow.
Art after it has undergone restoration works following an explosion caused by a terrorist attack in 2014 that targeted the Cairo Security Directorate and damaged parts of the museum. The inauguration was attended by Prime Minister Engineer Sharif Ismail, Ministers of Antiquities, Interior and International Cooperation, as well as the ambassadors of the countries that participated in the museum restoration project.
We are opening today the Islamic Museum of Art, and it's one of the greatest museums in the world. It was opened in 1903, and as you know, the museum suffered of a terrorist act in January 2013, and now we are opening the museum. It was an international collaboration between the United Arab Emirates and the USA and Switzerland and UNESCO and Italy, and we were able to restore more than 90 objects which were damaged during the attack.
There was 179 objects destroyed completely in the destroying of the explosion of museum in January 2014. We already finished from 169. And it is exhibited in the museum actually.
During the event, President al-Sisi listened to an explanation for the Minister of Antiquities, Dr. Khalid Al-Anani, in which he spoke about the history of the museum and the importance of its restoration works, which comes within the country's role to fix what has been damaged by the terrorist attack and protect the Egyptian cultural and humanitarian heritage and participate in regaining tourism. And with the restoration works that the museum has undergone, new antiques have been displayed.
Now we add a lot of objects. It's before bombing, it's about 1,575 objects only. But now it's about 4,000 objects, 4,400. 400 from them, it's exhibited for first time. And also we have now a new catalog for our visitors in English and of course in Arabic. And also we have the first guidebook for children in Egypt. It's you can have it from, you can buy it from the museum. And also we finished our website in Arabic and in English. And also finished the first mobile application for museum in Egypt.
President al-Sisi also took a tour at the museum. The Museum of Islamic Art, formerly known as the House of Arab Antiquities, is located in Bab el-Khal in the heart of historic Cairo and has a huge number of antique Islamic artifacts. The Museum of Islamic Art is considered the largest Islamic art museum in the world, housing close to 100,000 antique Islamic artifacts of various types, collected from different ages and countries around the world, which makes it a beacon of Islamic art and civilization of all times. Linda Abdul Latif, Nile TV International.
Ladies and gentlemen, and still with some more local news, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi will reshuffle his cabinet soon. The last cabinet reshuffle took place in March when Sisi named 10 new ministers, including the finance and investment portfolios. Egypt is struggling to revive an economy that has been battered by an acute foreign currency crisis since a popular uprising in 2012. We have more details in this report.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said a government reshuffle will take place very soon and that he expects greater cooperation with the administration of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. The president made his remarks during his interview with the editors-in-chief of the country's state-owned papers. On the international front, al-Sisi said there would be greater understanding and deeper cooperation with the administration of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, mainly in counter efforts. He said the country is succeeding in its 3.5-year-long war against terrorism, adding that the number of militias has significantly diminished. al-Sisi added that Egypt's fierce war against terrorism is worse than traditional war, stressing that there is not enough of media blitz that is necessary in times of war. On detained youth, al-Sisi said a committee tasked with reviewing the cases of detained youth was due to send a second list of those to gain a presidential pardon on Monday. In November, al-Sisi pardoned 82 prisoners, mainly university students, jailed for illegally protesting. al-Sisi also called on Egyptians to use family planning to help in reducing population growth, which he says poses a huge burden and does not allow people to feel the fruits of development. From 2006 to 2016, Egypt's population rose by 17.3 million, according to the official statistics body, CAPMAS. The president further complained that the government should not be judged by prices alone, referring to the rise in inflation rates that accompanied an economic reform plan that Egypt embarked on in 2014. al-Sisi added that the government's work should be judged by its huge responsibilities and difficulty of its task. Egypt has been undertaking an economic reform plan that has involved introducing a number of fiscal reforms, including fuel subsidy cuts, as well as imposing new taxes to ease a growing budget deficit. Egypt's economic growth rate registered 4.3% of GDP in fiscal year 2015-2016, down from 4.4% the previous year.
Welcome back, and still with some more local news. National Security Apparatus announced that it had information that leaders of the terrorist Brotherhood group intends to plot evoking the public opinion, taking advantage of the current economic situation. Sources said that the information revealed that the terrorist group is coordinating with other extremist groups to try to undermine security by creating crisis in different labor sectors. They said that the terrorist group leaders plan to arrange for meetings in hideouts in Nasr City and Muqattam districts in the capital. Security forces raided the hideout owned by Brotherhood member Ahmad al-Sayyid Ahmad Shaheta, charged in many cases. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail said that Egypt is on the right track after the Egyptian pound's flotation contributed to correcting the economic path of the country. Ismail had said in previous press release after meeting with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Saturday that the government is preoccupied with intensifying controls over the market to set prices, especially after the recent inflation. He said that the government is working on providing basic commodities for citizens at suitable prices, emphasizing that monitoring groups are observing the market to deal with the greed of some traders. Ismail noted that the government is determined to continue with its plans towards the form of national companies operating in the pharmaceutical industry and its production capacity so as to have a bigger share in the Egyptian market, which will positively reflect on the availability of drugs. Welcome back, and dear viewers, we're joined over the phone by Mr. Abdel Fattah Khattab, financial and economic expert, to shed more light about the latest economic developments taking place here in Egypt. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Nabil.
Sir, in your opinion, what are the measures needed to attract more investment to Egypt? In other words, do you think, how can we convince investors to start injecting money into Egypt immediately?
Let me put the new effect of the liberalization of the Egyptian pound. And and scrapping of fuel subsidized bonds, which take place in early November, continued to be filled in the economy. The pound has lost more than half its value since then, severely impacting both the cost of production as well as those of living. December negative PMI and the multi-year high inflation in November was confirmed the adverse effect of a heavily weakened currency of the net importing country. The government continued to push forward reform-oriented policies aimed to enhance and encourage investment and driving the economy, which only managed to grow average 4.3% in financial year 2015. This also includes, but are not limited to, removing profit limitations restriction and approving Egyptian first bankruptcy law at the first time in Egypt. The floating of the pound has allowed the central bank to frustrate international reserves, which had held since 2011 Arab Spring upgrading.
Right.
On top of disbursements from major lending restrictions, Egyptian authorities are expected to tap international markets soon in big to maintain the recent trend seen in the state reserve. So it's about the effect of the liberalization of the Egyptian pound.
Right, sir. How do you assess the government's efforts to provide citizens with the basic commodities and with suitable prices at the same time?
Yeah, so would you please repeat the question again in order to...
How do you assess the government's efforts to provide citizens with the basic commodities and with suitable prices at the same time?
Yeah, I think, yes. Okay. So,
right, and okay, thank you.
We can transfer to another part of the dialogue?
Right, okay, Mr. Ahmed Abdel Fattah, financial and economic expert, many thanks for joining us, sir. And dear viewers, now we go to this part of our show, which is Maspiru Zaman, and we'll be back after this.
The Egyptian television began broadcasting on July 21, 1960. 50 years on, it has proved to be one of the most effective and influential mass medium. For half a century, television has embraced the values and principles, the traditions and customs which represent the aspects of the Egyptian personality. It has stood as a beacon of light and enlightenment and a bridge of thought and culture in the tumultuous, ever-changing world. The Egyptian television began broadcasting 6 hours daily on the 21st of July 1960. In 1991, a presidential decree established the Arab Radio and Television Union and created 4 distinct sectors: radio, television, engineering and finance, each of which had a head who reported directly to the Ministry of Information. The name of the union was changed to the Egyptian Radio and Television Union, the name by which it is still known. Today, its total daily broadcast time on its various channels amount to 490 hours. The Egyptian television has always been at the heart of events. As a mass medium, it has expressed the pulse of the people, their sorrows and pains, as well as their joys and victories. The Egyptian television has furthermore achieved major leaps. When it was first launched, it broadcast 6 hours daily. Today, however, its total daily broadcast time on the various channels is put at 490 hours. It runs the internationally recognized television station Nile TV. ERTU is a member of the European Broadcasting Union, the EBU, since 1950. ERTU is the body responsible for Egypt's obligations under the EBU. As such, in the presently unlikely event of an Egyptian entry to the Eurovision Song Contest, ERTU would be responsible for organizing the domestic selection process and would likely provide for broadcasts of the contest on Nile TV. There are state-owned broadcasts or over-the-air channels in Egypt. 2 central channels, Channel 1 and 2, 6 regional channels, each providing specialized services for a number of governed rates. Channel 3, broadcasting from Cairo and covering Greater Cairo governed rates, Al-Qahira, Al-Giza and Al-Qalyubiyya. Channel 4, broadcasting from Ismailiyya and covering the Suez Canal governed rates, Al-Ismailiyya, Suez and the Port Said. Channel 5, broadcasting from Alexandria and covering Alexandria, Al-Bahira and parts of Matruh. Channel 6, broadcasting from Tanta and covering Central Delta governed rates, Al-Gharbiyya, Al-Munufiyya, Al-Daqahliyya, Kafr al-Sheikh and Dimyata. Channel 7, broadcasting from Al-Minya City and covering Northern Upper Egypt governed rates, Al-Minya, Al-Fayoum, Beni Suef and Asyut. Channel 8, broadcasting from Aswan and covering Southern Upper Egypt governed rates, Sohag, Qina, Luxor and Aswan. Egypt Satellite, or the Nile Sat, on April 28, 1998, the first Egyptian satellite, Nile Sat 101, was launched. The satellite was devoted to TV channels, information and multimedia transmission. It included 12 digital transponders, each capable for transmitting TV and radio channels. The Nile Sat broadcast covers Egypt, Arab countries, in addition to parts of neighboring countries such as Turkey, Iran, some Mediterranean and African countries. On August 17, 2000, another satellite, NileSat 102, was launched to provide additional channels. NileSat and Eutelsat has agreed in September 2005 to lease capacity on Eutelsat's Hotbird 4 satellite after relocating it to 7 degrees west and renaming it to NileSat 103. The satellite was repositioned to this location in the second quarter of 2006 after the launching and entry into service of Eutelsat Hotbird 7A and Hotbird 8 satellite. NileSat allowed for the launch of several specialized channels in addition to Egypt Satellite Channel, the ESC, and Nile TV, all are owned by the Egyptian state. Specialized channels include the Nile Drama Channel, specialized in drama, mainly movies and TV series, Nile Variety Channel, specialized in various forms of entertainment, mainly concerts, music videos, contests, and some talk shows, Nile Culture Channel, Nile Sports Channel, Tanweer Channel, Nile Family Channel, Nile Comedy Channel, Nile News Channel, and Nile Education Channel, several channels for primary, preparatory, secondary, medical, and language education. At the end, we can say that the ERTU has been at the heart of Egypt's events.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now moving on to our sports segment of the show and the game that took place yesterday in Mali. Our national team at the African Cup of Nations defended stoutly but failed to launch the trademark counterattacks to settle for a 0-0 draw with Mali in the first African Cup of Nations clash in 7 years on Tuesday. And now we are joined over the phone by Mr. Mohamed Misbah, sports analyst, to tell us more on yesterday's match. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us. Mr. Misbah, can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, of course, Egypt played yesterday with Mali, their first match at the African Cup of Nations. Now Egypt is playing with the fourth group, which is a strong group, actually, including Mali, Uganda, and Ghana. How did you see yesterday's match with Mali to evaluate the strategy of applied by the coach Hector Cooper, actually?
Actually, yeah. Actually, there is few points that need to be highlighted during this match. First and most important for that during this match, it was very clear for us that Mr. Cooper using the same way he's using every time. That means he's defending a lot and he don't have a clear leader in the match. Before we start the tournament, we explained that and we explained that it will not go the same every match and we will win every match. That means we need to be cautious in that and we need to have different tries. Second clear comment that we lack the leader. Mali yesterday controlled the match. We have the control over the match and the tactic and how we play against us. And if we have a leader in the match, I think we can avoid that. We can't create a leader now, but we can give the responsibility to someone who can do it. Third one was Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah yesterday, we can't consider him, we can't blame him as a one-man show all over the match. And this is the way we treated him previously. It's a team, it's not one person effort. And his attitude while he's going out was somehow an angry attitude that he's not so happy with what's going on.
Right, sir, what are Egypt's chances for winning the coming two matches with Uganda and Ghana?
This is very important. Uganda match is a match that we must win. Ghana is not an easy team at all, and they need from us after we went in the competition to World Cup. That means Uganda, which is the next match, is a very important match to us. Mr. Cooper and the team need to calm down and need to think carefully about how we can treat this match. Sometimes we need to make a change in the team itself. And today there is a bad surprise that Shenawi is out of the competition till end of the tournament, and we can't replace him. That means the opposition become more challenging for us. Yesterday we have our discussion, and I mentioned that first match is very important to win, otherwise the situation will be tougher. And actually we reached this point because Uganda is not an easy team, and we must win this match because Ghana will be very tough. And we can't forget that we are trying to be number one in the group, because if we are number two, we'll face number one, which is more challenging for us. I think it's time to calm down for the team and think carefully how you can skip Uganda match and after that Ghana, and thinking how you can have a leader inside the team who can make a change and guide the players, and have a second goalkeeper after Shenawi is out. I think we need to prepare Srifi Kami as well.
Right. So what are the mistakes that took place yesterday at the match that could be avoided in the upcoming match with Uganda?
Actually, the tactic itself. We need a person who can control the middle of the playground itself and the middle of the match, and he be able to manage the players to reach the goal we are searching for. It was very clear for us there is a lot of big names as we can say, like Nini, for example, Mohamed Abdel Shafi, and even Abdullah Saeed. They are not in the top for performance yesterday. They are ready to Uganda match, or they should be out, and we need to replace them at least for one match. We need to be realistic, not only relying on big names, but the people who deserve to be in the team itself. All those points and the psychological treatment for the players should be implemented in the next match that will support us to be the champion again.
Right, Mr. Mohammed Musbah, sports analyst, many thanks for joining us, sir, and all the best of luck for our national team. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you now with some events and numbers, which is a brief of the review of every title the Pharaohs had won ahead of the 2017 finals. Stay tuned.